Hi, welcome into Authentically Lovable You, a podcast on authenticity. I thank you for joining me today. Today, what we're going to be talking about is freedom. So, what's really big in our democracy and our government has been having freedom. So, what does freedom look like to you, and how would you define it? I know for myself, freedom is very important to me. And to me, freedom really means having choices. So let's go ahead and define this. Freedom, as a noun, is the condition of not being in prison or captivity. So, what is captivity? Well, it's being in a place that you're held back, maybe oppressed from things that would really free you. Okay? Secondly, the condition of being free of restraints, especially the ability to act without control or interference by another or by circumstances. So a lot of times, when we're being restrained, if you think of being held down, someone's controlling you, right? And someone's trying to interfere in regards to your circumstance. I know this has happened to me recently, and I do not like control. I do not like people interfering in my circumstances, even though they're paying somebody else to cover their tracks so they're not held responsible. The truth has already come out. Another definition of freedom: the condition of not being controlled by another nation or political power, political independence. Another definition is the condition of not being subject to a despotic or oppressive power, civil liberty. So again, we talked about this in our first definition, oppression. So oppression is like a force or a sense, I would almost describe it like a black cloud that follows you around. You can't really put your finger on it, but you know it's holding you back. Again, like the situation that I've spoken about. All right? And we all have that right to liberty, to be free without someone oppressing us. Comes back to being told what to do, being controlled. Like they have a say in your life. Like they're the ones living your life and you gotta play by their rules. And that's a big fat no. Another definition would be the condition of not being constrained or restricted in a specific aspect of life by a government or other power. So we consider that freedom of assembly. And finally, the condition of not being a slave. So we know slaves are, we have to serve a master. That's the point there. So in Wikipedia, the definition of freedom is the power or right to act without hindrance or restraint, and it can be associated with liberty, autonomy, or free will. So we should learn about the different types of freedom, all right? Freedom is the power of the right to speak, act, and change as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Freedom is, again, associated with liberty and autonomy. All right, this is of giving oneself one's own laws. And so, what does it mean to be free? So, I know for me, what it means to be free is for me to make the decisions, for me not to have control, for me to have control, for not anyone to put their oppressive thoughts or actions over my life. Again, nobody has the right to do this on a personal level, okay? If we're talking about laws or government and things that we need to follow, of course we have to follow those laws. But personal freedom is very different. An example, cyberbullying. All right. So for several years, I've been cyberbullied. Now, certain people have put their hands in the situation, and it's come out who the person is and the other people that are involved. So the main person doesn't want to be blamed or take accountability or responsibility, so they always have somebody else do it so they don't get caught. But there's always a money trail. Excuse me. So, cyberbullying, blocking your message, taking things over, ruining your opportunities, your reputation, slandering you. It's never really good to be in those kind of situations. But nobody can block your opportunities because there's always new opportunities, right? That come across your path every day. And there's always different ways to create opportunities. So they may think they're creating a missed opportunity, but in truth, really, you are destined for greatness. That's part of your authenticity. As long as you're walking in integrity and doing what it is that you're called to do with purpose, then no one can ruin your destiny, take it away, or try to replace it and put themselves in there. So just remember, though, cyberbullying is can be punishable by law. So we want to, in our authenticity, always walk in truth, always walk in integrity. Treat people the way that we want to be treated. There's no point in causing distress for another individual. And, reality is, if you don't like them, move on. Go on with your life. You don't need to be around that person because, again, it's a universal law. How you treat other people, you will be treated. What you sow, you will reap. Okay? What you reap, you will sow. So that is how that all comes out. So in authenticity, how does freedom play into that? Well, freedom is truly about us walking in our truth. I talked, what was really big to me was choices. Even as a school teacher, they said, always with students, you always want to give them a couple choices. It's not about making the choice for them or telling them what to do, because we need to come into a place where we can honestly make a choice that's best for us. What may be best for me may not be best for you. So we have to continue to look at what is best in our personal situation and how do we move forward in making those choices and walking in freedom. And authenticity is really huge on honoring yourself. You can tell when you're not walking in freedom. If someone says, oh, we're going to do this and that, and I'm coming over, and we're having dinner, maybe you have plans. So the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is honor yourself. And how do we do that? We have boundaries, and we speak up for ourselves and say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not available. I can't do that. No further explanation needs to be had. So we need to walk in that freedom, own that freedom, and have choices that will help honor ourselves. Now, sometimes we get in a rut. Sometimes we go down this path and we realize, we've talked in being codependent, oh, that person is calling the shots. Well, we also talked about how we take our power back. How do we take our power back in that situation? Well, we stand up for ourselves and we make the decision. We follow the boundaries, right? You have to be okay with making the choice and standing up and say, no, I'm going to make that decision. Or I'll get back to you when I have an answer. So it's really important that you honor yourself. You make the decision. Now, are all our decisions the right decisions, the best decisions? Only you know that. Nobody can tell you that's a bad decision. Well, they're not living your life. You are. Oh, I wouldn't make that choice. Okay, thank you. Move on. Nobody gets to dictate to you how you get to navigate this thing called life. Right? One day it might be great. You may go along making great decisions, having great choices. And then, you may make a wrong decision. And that's okay. Forgive yourself. Move on. Maybe you didn't know all the facts. Maybe you didn't know the people involved. Maybe their character changed. Maybe they're not on the same path as you. So choose the side of the road you're going to walk on. For me, I walk on the path of integrity. If I come across people that do not honor me or hold my level of integrity, they're not on my path with me. They don't go with me. I don't surround myself with those people. It's part of my boundaries. And that's how I honor myself. And life is good. Life is happy. And so I move forward. And so that's what freedom is. You know the feeling of freedom versus being oppressed. And freedom, you're excited. You wake up with purpose and passion. You have a destiny. You have gifts and talents to share. And you're free in operating in those. When you're oppressed, somebody else is calling the shots. Somebody else is telling you what to do, or how to feel, or what choice to make, or what you should do, or you're not doing enough. No, this is your life. And walking in freedom means you honor yourself and get excited again, because that's what freedom's about. It's not about being held back. It's not about people coming after you or attacking you or making remarks to you that are negative in nature or not honoring you. No, you don't do that. You walk away. You don't need to get in an argument or have any drama, because that's not what we're about in being authentic. You have your boundaries. And my boundaries is if there is someone in my midst that is being derogatory, nasty, or just has no sense of morals or values, then I just walk away, and that's it. They'll figure it out. But I know my path. I know my destiny. I know my purpose. I know what I need to do in this lifetime. I also know my gifts and talents. I know my strengths. I know what I'm good at. I've taken my power back. I have very strong boundaries. And all in all, at the end of the day, I honor myself. And that's what true freedom really is. So I hope this has helped you. I want to thank everyone that's subscribing. It's really beginning to grow. Come find me on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and all the 15 different platforms that I'm on. And I want you to continue to honor yourself, be authentically lovable you, be true to who you are. Don't let anyone dictate or tell you what you need to be. You know who you are, and keep walking in that. Until next time, I'm very proud of you. Keep up the great work and continue to be authentically lovable you. Take care.